Have you ever wondered what Earth will look like 5 billion years from now? Imagine the sun swelling into a red giant, oceans boiling away, and our planet turning into a lifeless desert. But that's just the beginning. Humanity could build Dyson Spheres, colonize distant moons, and even watch galaxies collide. The future holds cosmic catastrophes, mind-blowing technology, and the ultimate test of survival. Stay tuned, because here are 10 shocking curiosities about the far future of Earth and the universe. The expansion of the sun into a red giant. Imagine waking up 5 billion years from now and seeing a completely different sky. The sun, which today seems like a calm yellow ball, would have transformed into a colossal red giant, occupying much of the horizon. Its energy would not only light up the Earth, but also scorch it to the bone. The vision would be both epic and terrifying. The apocalypse would be right before your eyes. This process happens because stars like the sun, after exhausting their main nuclear fuel, begin to expand. The core contracts and heats up, while the outer layers swell like a cosmic balloon. This makes the sun grow hundreds of times larger than it is today. It would no longer be the serene star we know, but a raging cosmic beast. Mercury would be the first planet to succumb to this stellar fury. Its rocky surface would quickly vaporize, vanishing in the solar flames. Venus would face the same fate. The hell planet would be drawn even closer to the fiery furnace, swallowed entirely. The spectacle would be brutal and unavoidable. Earth, our home, would be on the edge of this tragedy. Some models suggest that it may be completely swallowed by the sun. Others predict the planet might survive, but burned and destroyed by the extreme heat. In either case, the surface would become uninhabitable. No life form could endure it. From a visual perspective, the scene would be terrifying. Imagine looking up and seeing the sun so large it covers much of the sky. The blue of the heavens would shift to a deep red. The heat would be so unbearable that the oceans would instantly evaporate. The atmosphere would collapse. A true inferno. If you were there, your skin would burn within seconds. None of Earth's natural protections could withstand such energy. Not even underground shelters could save humans. The destruction would be absolute. This is the natural fate of planets orbiting dying stars. Scientists already know this phase is inevitable. The life cycle of stars is well understood. They are born, live, consume fuel, and eventually expand until death. The sun, as important as it is to us, follows the same rules. The solar apocalypse is only a matter of time. This scenario is a reminder that humanity must look beyond Earth. If we want to survive billions of years, we must abandon our home planet. It is the only way to escape the destruction that awaits us. The cosmos does not forgive. This colossal expansion would also affect the outer planets. The balance of the entire solar system would shift. Orbits would change, moons would be destroyed, and the cosmic dance would become more chaotic. No corner would remain untouched. Thus, the sun's expansion marks the beginning of Earth's final countdown. The blue planet we know and love would be reduced to ashes. Humanity's cradle would become nothing more than cosmic dust, scattered in the solar wind. The end of Earth's habitability. With the sun in full fury, Earth would no longer be a habitable planet. Long before being swallowed, the changes would already make life impossible. Temperatures would rise to unimaginable levels. The oceans would evaporate, creating a suffocating and dense atmosphere of steam. The blue paradise would turn into a hellish desert. The collapse of photosynthesis would be one of the first signs of the end. Without plants to produce oxygen, animals and humans would lose their primary source of breathable air. Forests would die, seas would dry up, and the food chain would collapse. The air would become toxic. Breathing would be impossible. Human cities would not withstand such heat. Skyscrapers would crumble, metals would melt, and even concrete would lose its form. No infrastructure could survive in such a hostile environment. Any trace of civilization would disintegrate within hours. The atmosphere would also undergo radical transformations. The greenhouse effect, already concerning today, would reach absurd levels. Reflected heat would remain trapped, intensifying destruction. The sky would be filled with toxic clouds and soot. Lightning storms would become constant. Animals and plants that survived for millions of years would quickly perish. Only some anaerobic microorganisms could last a little longer. Earth would return to harboring only primitive forms of life, as it did in the beginning, but even those would soon vanish. From a human perspective, any attempt to remain on Earth would be futile. Abandoning the planet would become the only viable solution. Space refuges, colonies on Mars, or bases on Jupiter's moons would be the last hope. The home planet would no longer be a home. This process of slow death would begin billions of years before the final end. In other words, Earth's habitability would already be compromised long before the sun devoured neighboring planets. Future generations would be forced to face this harsh reality. Earth would no longer be a place to live. The planet's destiny would resemble that of Venus. Today, Venus is a hell with temperatures of 460 degrees Celsius and crushing pressure. In billions of years, Earth would undergo something similar. A true mirror of what already exists in our cosmic neighborhood. From space, Earth would appear unrecognizable. The blue of the oceans would vanish. The green of forests would fade. All that would remain is a dry, cracked, and scorching world. A cosmic graveyard. Thus, the loss of Earth's habitability would be the prelude to final destruction. A grim warning that the end is near. Humanity's home would have completed its cycle, leaving only the search for a new destiny among the stars. Possible survival on Mars or the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. If Earth becomes uninhabitable, humanity's survival would have to be sought on other worlds. Mars, the red planet, has always been the prime candidate. Although today it is dry and cold, in the future it could serve as a refuge, provided it is terraformed. Its greater distance from the sun would make it a temporary shelter against the stellar apocalypse. Another fascinating alternative would be the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Ganymede, the largest moon in the solar system, shows signs of a subsurface ocean. Titan, on the other hand, has a dense atmosphere and lakes of liquid methane. With the help of engineering, these extreme environments could become habitable homes. Living in these places, however, would not be simple. Mars would need artificial heating, oxygen, and protection against radiation. Ganymede and Titan would require even more advanced technologies, capable of creating pressurized shelters and artificial ecosystems. Humanity would need to become a cosmic engineer to survive. With advances in biotechnology, humans could also adapt their bodies to these new worlds. Imagine genetically modified people capable of breathing in different atmospheres, resisting extreme temperatures, and enduring low gravity. Survival would depend not only on technology, but also on human evolution itself. The fascinating thing is that in billions of years, the habitable zone of the solar system will no longer include Earth. Saturn and Jupiter with their moons will become the ideal spots for life. Places that today seem impossible may one day be the future of civilization. This transition would completely change humanity's relationship with the cosmos. Home would no longer be a fixed planet, but any place that could be reshaped. Earth would become only a memory, an abandoned cradle. Life would continue elsewhere. Human colonies could even turn into independent civilizations. Each moon or planet would have its own cultures, ways of life, and technologies. Humanity would no longer be one, but many, spread across the solar system. This cosmic adaptation is what would guarantee the continuity of the species. If we remain tied only to Earth, our fate is sealed. But if we dare to colonize other worlds, we will have a chance to escape the inevitable end. It is a reminder that humanity's future lies beyond the blue sky we see today. Mars, Ganymede, Titan. These names could one day replace Earth as home. Survival will belong to those who dare to conquer the impossible. Thus, the possible survival on Mars or the moons of gas giants shows that humanity does not have to die with Earth. Our legacy can spread, endure, and flourish in completely different worlds. Terraforming planets. Before the death of Earth. Long before the sun enters its final phase, humanity will likely have already begun colossal terraforming projects. Mars would be the first target. With sufficient technology, we could release controlled greenhouse gases to warm the planet, melt its polar ice caps, and create artificial rivers and seas. On Venus, the plan would be different. Since it is extremely hot, the solution would be to build floating cities in its upper atmosphere. There, the temperature and pressure are more similar to Earth's. In the distant future, we might even cool the planet by modifying its atmosphere and making it habitable. One of the boldest methods would be the use of asteroids. Scientists believe it would be possible to redirect them to dry planets, bringing water and the chemical elements needed for life. It would be like seeding dead worlds with vital ingredients. Another idea would be the creation of artificial magnetospheres. Many planets, like Mars, lack a strong magnetic field to protect them from solar radiation. Building massive electromagnetic shields could recreate this natural defense. Without it, life could never truly thrive. Terraforming would not just mean changing the environment, but literally creating new homes from scratch. It would require the combined effort of entire generations, perhaps even entire civilizations. A project that could take thousands of years to yield results. The big question is, will humanity have enough time? The race against the sun is cruel. We may have billions of years, but on cosmic scales, that is short. Every century lost could be the delay that determines our survival. Even so, terraforming represents hope. Transforming Mars into a new Earth or creating habitats on Venus would be humanity's greatest victory against nature. It would prove that we are not merely hostages of the cosmos, but also creators of worlds. With the help of AI and advanced engineering, we might accelerate this process. The first seeds could already be planted today with space missions and lunar colonization. Tomorrow is built step by step. These projects would also change how we view the universe. Each planet or moon would no longer just be a distant point in the sky, but a real possibility for life. The cosmos would become a fertile field of potential homes. Thus, terraforming before Earth's death would not only be an alternative, it would be a necessity. A way to ensure that, when the sun begins to destroy us, we already have a place to go. Earth may die, but humanity does not need to perish with it. The role of human megastructures, Dyson Spheres, and other projects. Imagine a civilization capable of building a structure so gigantic that it completely surrounds the sun. This is the concept of the Dyson Sphere, a theoretical megastructure that would capture nearly all of our star's energy. To survive in the distant future, humanity would need something on this scale. Energy would become the most precious resource. With almost unlimited energy, we could sustain colonies spread throughout the solar system and even travel between stars. The Dyson Sphere would transform the sun into a cosmic power plant. Not just a distant star, but the vital source of our civilization's survival. Beyond the sphere, other megastructures could emerge. Giant orbital habitats, known as O'Neill cylinders, could house millions of people in space. Each cylinder would contain its own ecosystems, with rivers, forests, and cities. Space would become a natural extension of Earth. Building something so grand would require immense resources. Asteroids and moons could be dismantled to provide raw materials. Human engineering would evolve to almost unimaginable levels. Creating artificial worlds would no longer be fiction. It would become necessity. But these structures would also carry risks. A failure in a Dyson sphere could unleash energy powerful enough to annihilate everything nearby. Maintaining such constructions would be a constant challenge. Survival would depend on technological perfection. Even so, the benefits would be enormous. With infinite energy, there would be no limits to what humanity could achieve, from powering quantum supercomputers to sustaining millions of space habitats. We would become masters of stellar energy. These megastructures would also redefine humanity's identity. We would no longer be a planet-bound species, but builders of artificial worlds. Our home would cease to be natural and would instead be the product of cosmic engineering. In addition, structures like Dyson Spheres could be detectable by alien civilizations. Perhaps this explains why we have not yet found intelligent life. Either they have not reached this level, or they have already disappeared. We would be entering a rare cosmic elite. Megastructures would mark humanity's ultimate transition into a new stage. From mere survivors, we would become architects of the universe. We would create homes anywhere, even in the vacuum of space. It would be the ultimate triumph of intelligence over nature. Thus, the role of megastructures would be vital for survival across billions of years. They would be our fortress, our power plant, and our new home. Without them, humanity would stand little chance of enduring Earth's and the Sun's inevitable end. The transition of humanity to Type 1 to 2 and the third. Civilizations on the Kardashev scale. To understand humanity's future, we must talk about the Kardashev scale, created by astrophysicist Nikolai Kardashev. It measures a civilization's advancement by its energy consumption. Today, humanity is still below Type 1, but the future promises giant leaps forward. A Type 1 civilization would be able to harness all the energy available on its home planet. This means fully using resources like wind, oceans, solar power, and even the Earth's core. We would achieve complete mastery over our planet. At Type 2, humanity would control the energy of an entire star. This is where projects like the Dyson Sphere come into play. We would capture all of the sun's energy, securing enough power to expand beyond the solar system. It would be the era of megastructures. At Type 3, a civilization would harness the energy of an entire galaxy. Billions of stars, black holes, and cosmic phenomena would become energy sources. This represents the pinnacle of technological evolution. A humanity at this level would be practically godlike, but the transition between these stages would not be simple. Each leap would require technologies capable of reshaping entire worlds. It would be a process spanning thousands of years, with the constant risk of self-destruction along the way. Survival would depend not only on power, but on wisdom. Today we stand at the edge of Type 1. Our progress with renewable energy shows the first steps. Yet we face challenges, wars, climate change, and crises that could delay this path. The future is not guaranteed. If we succeed, we could reach Type 2 within a few millennia. We would control the sun and spread colonies throughout space. Humanity would become a multi-planetary species, less vulnerable to cosmic catastrophes. Extinction would no longer be an immediate threat. By the time we achieve Type 3, we would no longer be purely human. Our technological and biological evolution would transform us into something entirely different. We might become post-humans, closer to conscious machines than to flesh and bone. The future of humanity would, in truth, be the birth of something new. This journey through the Kardashev scale is both inspiring and frightening. It shows the immense potential we hold, but also how fragile our existence is. A single mistake could destroy us before we ever reach the next level. Thus, the transition along the Kardashev scale is not just a dream. It is a race against time and against ourselves. The prize? Becoming a civilization capable of surviving the sun's ultimate destruction. The collision of the Milky Way with Andromeda. If you were alive billions of years in the future, you would witness a cosmic spectacle of unimaginable proportions. The collision of the Milky Way with the Andromeda galaxy. Today, Andromeda is about 2.5 million light-years away, but in roughly 4 billion years, it will collide with our galaxy. It will be a grand and chaotic event. At first glance, it may sound like the end of everything. Billions of stars from 2 galaxies crashing together seems like total destruction. But in reality, the space between stars is so vast that most will simply pass by one another without colliding. Still, the night sky would be utterly transformed. Imagine looking up and seeing 2 entire galaxies merging, creating arcs of stars, distorted nebulae, and streams of light. The heavens would be filled with sights so breathtaking that even the most stunning aurora borealis would pale in comparison. It would be like living inside a cosmic painting in motion. However, at the heart of each galaxy lies a supermassive black hole. When Andromeda and the Milky Way collide, these cosmic giants will inevitably meet. The result will be the fusion of 2 colossal black holes, creating an even more powerful gravitational monster. This new central black hole would alter the dynamics of the merged galaxy, often called Milkdromeda. The solar system could be flung into more distant regions, or even expelled from the galaxy entirely. Earth's fate would depend on this gravitational dance. For humans, or whatever we have become by then, this event would be both fascinating and dangerous. If we still inhabited the solar system, we would face gravitational changes capable of altering planetary orbits. chaos would be inevitable. Despite the risks, the fusion of galaxies would also bring opportunities. New stars would form from compressed gas. Entirely new solar systems would emerge, creating environments ripe for life. The universe would be recycling itself before our very eyes. The collision could also become a cultural milestone. Imagine post-human civilizations observing this cosmic dance for millennia, recording it in their history and memory. It would be one of the greatest astronomical events ever witnessed. From a scientific perspective, studying such a merger would be crucial. Understanding how galaxies interact would help us predict the destiny of the cosmos. We would be both witnesses and scientists of a rare and extraordinary phenomenon. Thus, the collision of Andromeda and the Milky Way would not be just destruction. It would be the rebirth of a galaxy, the ultimate spectacle of nature. A reminder that even the largest cosmic structures are in constant transformation. The fate of Neptune's moon Triton and its future destruction. While galaxies collide in the cosmos, dramatic changes would also unfold within our solar system. One of them involves Triton, Neptune's largest moon. Unlike most moons, Triton orbits its planet in the opposite direction of Neptune's rotation. This means it is slowly being pulled closer and closer. Over time, Triton will cross what is known as the Roche limit. This is the point at which Neptune's gravity will be stronger than the moon's own cohesion, literally tearing it apart. What remains of Triton will no longer be a moon, but a ring encircling Neptune. This process will transform Neptune into a ringed planet, similar to Saturn, but with a far more tragic origin. Triton's shattered pieces will form a celestial spectacle. Anyone alive to witness it would see the destruction of an entire moon before their eyes. The vision would be magnificent, but also melancholic. Triton, which was once an independent object from the Kuiper Belt before being captured by Neptune, would end its existence in fragments, a reminder that nothing in the universe is eternal. The impact on the solar system would be significant. The destruction of Triton could cause gravitational instabilities, affecting other moons and even smaller orbits around Neptune. The cosmic balance would once again be disrupted. For humans, this phenomenon would hold immense scientific value. Observing Triton's collapse would allow us to study, up close, the limits of gravity and the formation of planetary rings. It would be like watching the creation of a mini Saturn in real time. Additionally, the fragments could become valuable resources. Future civilizations might mine these cosmic remains to build space habitats or advanced technologies. Even the tragedy of a moon could be turned into opportunity. From a poetic perspective, Triton's destruction would be a spectacle of beauty and decay. An entire moon saying farewell in silence, leaving behind a shining trail, the universe revealing its power to both create and destroy. This event also reminds us that even distant worlds, seemingly stable, have predetermined destinies. Triton's death would be just one more piece in the cosmic puzzle that never stops shifting. Thus, the end of Triton and the creation of Neptune's rings would symbolize the impermanence of the universe. Everything in the cosmos, from stars to moons, is destined to change, transform, or disappear. Nothing lasts forever. Supernovas and cosmic explosions threatening Earth's future. If humanity still exists billions of years from now, it will face cosmic enemies far beyond the sun. Among them are supernovas, stellar explosions so powerful they can unleash enough energy to annihilate entire planets. And there are stars close enough to pose risks to us. One of them is WR-104, located 8,000 light-years away. Although it seems distant, an explosion directed toward Earth could destroy our ozone layer instantly. This would leave the planet vulnerable to deadly cosmic radiation, leading to a mass extinction event. Another threat is the star system T Pyxidus, a white dwarf currently accumulating mass. When it explodes, it could release gamma radiation 1,000 times stronger than a solar flare. Even thousands of light-years away, the effects would be devastating for any form of life. Supernovas not only destroy, but also create. Heavy elements like iron and gold exist only because of these explosions. It is the cosmic cycle. From the death of stars come the ingredients of life. However, being too close to one is a death sentence. To survive such events, humanity would need to develop planetary defense shields. massive structures capable of deflecting gamma radiation or even altering planetary orbits. Without them, any civilization could be wiped out in seconds. Still, observing a supernova up close would be a breathtaking spectacle. Imagine a point in the sky growing until it shines brighter than an entire galaxy. A display of light and energy, both fascinating and terrifying. The threat of supernovas shows just how unpredictable the universe can be. Even far from the sun, even away from Earth, we would still be vulnerable to random explosions. Cosmic survival is an eternal battle against uncontrollable forces. Advanced civilizations, if they exist, may already have developed ways to predict and protect themselves from such catastrophes. For us, it remains a mystery how to deal with so much raw power. The future may teach us to tame even the energy of stars. These risks might also explain the cosmic silence. Perhaps many civilizations were wiped out by supernovas before they could spread through the galaxy. Perhaps we will be next, if we fail to learn how to protect ourselves. Thus, supernovas represent both a mortal danger and a reminder of the cosmos' grandeur. They are beautiful and deadly, creators and destroyers. And humanity, if it wants to survive billions of years, must learn to respect and face this power, the great filter, and the possibility of human extinction before then. But what if we never get to witness the sun becoming a red giant or galaxies colliding? There is a theory called the Great Filter, which suggests that intelligent civilizations always face an insurmountable barrier, a kind of cosmic trap that prevents their survival in the long term. This filter could be technological, an out-of-control AI, nuclear wars, or experiments that spiral beyond control. It could also be environmental, climate change or the destruction of the home planet, or even biological, pandemics capable of wiping out an entire species. The idea is that the more advanced a civilization becomes, the more dangerous the tools it creates. It's like giving matches to a child in a room full of gasoline. Intelligence, instead of ensuring survival, may become the cause of extinction itself. Some scientists believe that the fact we haven't found advanced civilizations yet could be explained by this. Perhaps they all perished before reaching an interstellar stage. If that is true, humanity faces the same risk. The Great Filter is both terrifying and motivating. If it lies ahead of us, we must find ways to overcome it. If we have already passed it, then we might be among the first species in the universe to survive this barrier. The problem is that we don't know where we stand in this timeline. Have we already beaten the filter, or is it still waiting for us in the near future? This uncertainty is one of the greatest existential questions science faces today. Overcoming the Great Filter would require collective maturity. It would not only depend on technological advances, but also on societal evolution, learning to avoid self-destruction. It would be more of a philosophical victory than a scientific one. If we fail, billions of years of potential won't matter. Humanity will simply become another forgotten civilization, destroyed by its own arrogance. We would be remembered only in fossils and cosmic records of a species that couldn't endure. But if we survive, the universe will open up before us. We will leave Earth, colonize planets, and perhaps become a Type 3 civilization. Victory over the Great Filter would be the greatest achievement of all time. Thus, the Great Filter is humanity's ultimate test. An invisible obstacle that will determine whether we perish early or survive long enough to watch Earth's end with post-human eyes. The future of human and post-human evolution, cyborgs, AI, hybrid organisms. If humanity manages to survive for billions of years, we will no longer be the same. Natural evolution will be replaced by technological and artificial evolution. The humans of tomorrow may be cyborgs, hybrids, or even digital consciousnesses living in interplanetary networks. Nanotechnology will be one of the keys to this transformation. Micromachines circulating in our bodies could repair damaged cells, eliminate diseases, and even slow down aging. Biological death would cease to be inevitable, ushering in a new era of relative immortality. Artificial intelligence will also play a central role. Instead of merely assisting us, it could merge with the human mind. Imagine thinking and instantly accessing all the knowledge of the galaxy. The human brain would be expanded to levels that today seem divine. Another possibility is the complete abandonment of the biological body. Human consciousness could be transferred to digital systems, living in perfect simulations or controlling artificial bodies. The very concept of being human would expand into something entirely new. This evolution would not be uniform. Some parts of civilization might choose to remain biological, while others adopt artificial forms. Humanity would fragment into different versions of itself, each adapted to different cosmic environments. On colonized planets and moons, we could see genetically modified humans capable of surviving different gravities, toxic atmospheres, or lack of sunlight. Evolution would no longer be slow and random. It would be planned and directed by the species itself. The cultural impact would be immense. Questions of identity, religion, philosophy, and morality would need to be reinvented. After all, what does it mean to be human when we no longer have bodies, aging, or biological limitations? This transformation would also raise dangers. Excessive dependence on technology could lead to catastrophes, such as losing control over intelligent machines. The post-human future would not come without risks. However, if we overcome these challenges, humanity could transcend its current limits. From fragile beings tied to Earth, we would become cosmic creatures, capable of living anywhere in the universe. Thus, the future of human evolution is also the birth of the post-human. We would not merely be survivors of Earth, but pioneers of a new form of existence, redefining what it means to be alive. Extreme climate changes on Earth, ice ages, and catastrophic warming. Long before the sun destroys us, Earth will undergo brutal climatic transformations. Over millions of years, the planet will alternate between unbearable heat and intense ice ages. Each of these phases will put humanity's survival to the test. A new ice age could arise in about 100,000 years. In this scenario, glaciers would cover vast regions of Earth, turning entire continents into frozen deserts. Civilization would have to migrate to warmer areas or build underground cities to endure. On the other hand, periods of extreme heating would also occur. Massive volcanic eruptions, such as Yellowstone's supervolcano, could release enough ash to block the sun temporarily, triggering global winters. In the long run, however, the sun itself would heat the Earth, creating planetary-scale deserts. These changes would not be gradual and gentle. They could happen abruptly, rapidly transforming entire ecosystems. Species would vanish, seas would rise, and habitable regions would turn into sterile wastelands. Human life would depend on extreme adaptability. In the distant future, Earth may come to resemble Mars, arid, cold, and with little atmosphere. Or it could become like Venus, suffocating, toxic, and blazing hot. Both fates are possible, depending on the balance between the climate and the sun. To withstand these transformations, humanity would need to master techniques of planetary-scale climate control. It would be necessary to manipulate clouds, oceans, and even volcanoes to stabilize Earth. A colossal task, but a vital one. Even so, the planet would never be entirely predictable. Geological and cosmic forces would always hold the power to alter our destiny. Earth would constantly remind us that we never have complete control. These climatic cycles would also become historical milestones. Future civilizations would look back and see how each era shaped their evolution. Ice ages and global warmings would become chapters in humanity's struggle for survival. From a scientific perspective, studying these changes would be essential. Understanding how climate reacts to cosmic and geological forces would help us predict future scenarios. Climate science would become one of humanity's pillars of survival. Thus, Earth's extreme climate changes would be both a challenge and a preparation. They would force us to evolve, to innovate, and to step outside our comfort zone. Each climatic catastrophe would be a warning that, in the cosmos, nothing is permanent. The formation of new supercontinents. Pangaea Proxima. Earth is not static. Its tectonic plates are in constant motion, and over hundreds of millions of years, the continents will continue to rearrange themselves. In about 200 million years, scientists predict the formation of a new supercontinent, Pangaea Proxima. Just like the ancient Pangaea, this new supercontinent will unite almost all of Earth's land masses into a single block. Entire oceans will disappear, compressed into one gigantic planetary sea that surrounds the new continent. It will be a world completely different from the one we know today. The formation of Pangaea Proxima will bring extreme consequences. Regional climates will become harsher, with vast deserts dominating the continent's interior and colossal storms raging along the coasts. Seasons would become violent and unpredictable. Such an environment could trigger mass extinctions. Life, which depends on stability, would suffer under prolonged droughts, devastating floods, and hyper-hurricanes. Only the most adaptable species would manage to survive. From a human perspective, inhabiting this supercontinent would be a tremendous challenge. Large-scale migrations would be necessary to escape extreme climates. Entire civilizations would need to reinvent themselves in a world constantly changing. Yet Pangaea Proxima could also bring opportunities. A united continent would make terrestrial transport easier, possibly allowing for more integrated global civilizations. Natural boundaries would vanish, and political geography could change radically. Even so, the risks would outweigh the benefits. Concentrated land masses would create fertile conditions for geological instability, such as super-earthquakes and megavolcanoes. The planet would become a stage for disasters on a scale never seen before. From space, the view would be breathtaking. A single massive landmass dominating the globe, surrounded by one colossal ocean. Earth would look unrecognizable to any time traveler familiar with today's map. This cycle of supercontinents forming and breaking apart has already happened several times in geological history, and it will continue until Earth's end. It is the planet's way of reminding us that even continents are temporary. Thus, Pangaea Proxima will not be just a geographical change. It will symbolize a planet in constant motion, reshaping life and civilization with the raw power of its inner forces. Asteroids and long-term collision risks. While the sun burns and continents shift, another threat lurks in the shadows of space. Asteroids. Over millions and billions of years, Earth will be struck repeatedly by space rocks. Some small, but others massive enough to wipe out entire civilizations. The most famous impact is the one that exterminated the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. But that wasn't a unique event. It was just a reminder that the cosmos is full of projectiles waiting to collide with us. In the next 100 million years, the probability of another impact of this scale is almost certain. An asteroid just a few kilometers wide could destroy cities, trigger global tsunamis, and block sunlight for years. Agriculture would collapse, food chains would be broken, and humanity would face planet-wide famine. Over billions of years, even if we escape these smaller impacts, the threat of giant asteroids will remain. Rocks tens of kilometers across could eliminate all complex life on Earth in just days. To survive, humanity would need to develop technologies to deflect or destroy these celestial bodies. Planetary defense systems, such as orbital lasers or thrusters attached to asteroids, would become essential. It would be a constant battle against space's randomness. Impacts would also reshape geology and biology. New craters would form, altering entire landscapes. Species could vanish while others seize the opportunity to evolve. Each collision would mark a turning point in life's history. From a cultural perspective, the threat of asteroids might unite humanity. Nothing would motivate global cooperation more than the looming risk of total extinction. At some point, planetary defense would become the highest priority. Yet if we failed, the outcome would be inevitable. A large asteroid impact would make Earth tremble like never before. The sky would turn to fire, and oceans would boil with the unleashed energy. A sudden and brutal end. This risk reminds us that cosmic survival requires constant vigilance. It's not enough to flee the sun or climate change. Space itself is filled with dangers that can strike at any moment. Thus, asteroids represent the chaotic element of the future. Earth's fate may not be decided by billions of years of stellar evolution, but by a wandering rock crossing our path. The last breath of Earth, before being burned or swallowed by the sun. We have arrived at Earth's final chapter, the closing act of its long story. In about 5 billion years, the sun will reach the peak of its red giant phase. Expanded to hundreds of times its current size, it will consume the innermost planets and bring Earth to the brink of total destruction. By then, Earth's surface will have been uninhabitable for a long time. Oceans evaporated, atmosphere gone, crust fractured by unbearable heat. But now the blue planet will cease to exist as we know it. The question remains, will it be swallowed by the sun or simply scorched into a carbonized desert? Some models suggest Earth may escape direct absorption, remaining in orbit but completely burned. In that case, it would become a dry, lifeless rock circling a dying sun. A ghost planet, a pale reminder of what once thrived here. Other models are even darker, predicting that the sun's expansion will be so intense that it will engulf Earth entirely. In that instant, the planet would be destroyed, melted, and transformed into plasma, vanishing forever inside the star's blazing core. Whatever the outcome, the end is inevitable. Earth will have fulfilled its cosmic role to harbor life, give rise to humanity, and witness billions of years of evolution. The planet will become nothing more than memory, stardust scattered across the solar wind. Visually, it would be a terrifying spectacle. The sky dominated by an enormous red sun, glowing brighter than ever before. A vision of fire and destruction closing the story of an entire world. A farewell as grand as it is merciless. For humanity, if we still exist in this distant future, this moment would be one to watch from afar. Living on Jupiter's moons, Saturn's worlds, or even distant galaxies, we would remember Earth as our birthplace. The cradle would be lost, but not forgotten. Earth's final moments would also carry a lesson. Nothing in the universe is eternal. Not planets, not stars, not galaxies. Everything has a cycle of birth, peak, and death. Existence itself is woven from transformation and farewells. And in a way, this destiny is not just a tragedy. The death of Earth would be part of the cosmic cycle that creates new elements, new stars, and new worlds. What was lost here could become the foundation of new homes elsewhere. Thus, Earth's last breath would mark the end of a magnificent story. The planet that nurtured us would vanish in flames but leave behind an eternal legacy, the life that once blossomed upon its surface. A reminder that, even in endings, the universe always creates new beginnings. The future of Earth and humanity is both terrifying and inspiring, a journey from survival to becoming cosmic architects. Whether we build Dyson Spheres, colonize new worlds, or face extinction, one thing is certain: nothing in the universe lasts forever. But our curiosity and imagination are what drive us beyond limits, even into the unknown. So what do you think humanity's future will really look like in 5 billion years? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more mind-blowing space curiosities every week.